whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it. Yo, what's good with y'all boys? And today we better be ranking the Unbreakable franchise. And just so y'all know, I really actually like all these movies. So like even the movie in last place is just kind of like, alright, it's good. Yeah, coming in at third place, you got Split. Split, like I said, I enjoyed this movie, and I keep looking down at my, I got my papers, because I wrote down on my notes. So yeah, one of my biggest problems with this movie, just like my biggest problem with Glass, is I feel like these two movies are just kind of too long. And this movie is just too long too. It could have been like 15 or 20 minutes shorter. They could have shaved off some of the things in there. I don't know exactly what they could have shaved off, but they could have shaved off something. It was just kind of long, you know. You kind of sit there and you're like, oh shit, when's this gonna be over? Like, I'm ready to move on. So you got James McAvoy giving an Oscar-worthy performance, and he really sells his character. You really feel like his character believes that his personalities are real, and he, like, whenever his character switches between personalities, it's like he's actually having like a conversation like with himself. It's kind of weird. And it was so much like that like whenever the girls first got there from being kidnapped, they thought that there was somebody else there, and then they realized it was just him, and he's crazy as fuck. So next you got Anya Taylor-Joy's character, and she's like one of my favorite characters in this franchise besides Mr. Glass and David. Her character is really fleshed out in this movie, you know, from the whole thing of she grew up hunting, so that's why she's kind of such a badass, and she knows how to shoot and stuff. She doesn't just like pick up a gun and know how to shoot all of a sudden. Like, no, she actually used to hunt and stuff. And then the whole reason why she's all fucked up and like scarred, and the reason why the killer even let her live at the end of the movie, and everything that is like the reason why she acts the way she acts is because of like what happened in her childhood and stuff. It's all explained in this movie. They really take advantage of the split concept in this movie, the split personality concept. That's probably like one of the best parts about this movie, how you just see him throughout the movie just go through different personalities, and there's just a bunch of different scenes where that plays out, where, you know, he'll be having this personality and this personality. Like, some of his personalities are females, some of his personalities are, one of his personalities a 9-year-old kid. Like, it's just, he's got like a whole bunch of personalities. One of the best parts about this movie is the Beast is feared by all the other personalities. So like, all the other ones, they're so scared of him because they know that he's actually real. And I also like how the personalities fight over the light. The light is just like your conscience or whatever. So like, yeah, when whoever has the light is the person who controls the body and shit like that. And then yeah, there's the whole Bruce Willis cameo at the end of the movie that confirms that it's an Unbreakable trilogy. It's cool. It's cool. But yeah, man, I enjoy this movie. My favorite part about this movie is just Anya Taylor-Joy as Casey. She's like one of my favorite final girls. This isn't one of my like favorite movies, but like her as that portrayal, I just love her character, and she's like the main reason, besides James McAvoy, that this movie is as good as it is. So yeah, coming in at number 2, you got Glass, and I'm just gonna start out by saying James McAvoy is fucking hilarious in this movie. I mean, some of the shit that he does, he goes, the Beast is in a lot of this movie, but like, even the Beast in the last movie was not nearly as over the top as it is in this movie, and it's fucking crazy. But I mean, it's pretty dope seeing David Dunn versus the Beast, you know, like the first scene where he walks by him and he touches him, he's like, oh shit, like, that's the guy. And then he follows him in there, and they end up getting arrested whenever they fight and shit. And then there's the scene at the end where they fight because the Beast and Mr. Glass are trying to break out, and then David Dunn stops them or whatever. And it's a pretty good fight scene. It's pretty dope. Like, that's probably my favorite part about this movie, besides seeing Mr. Glass come back, and then, you know, some of the Beast is cool. The Beast goes a little too far over the top in this movie for me. Anya Taylor-Joy, Mr. Glass, and David Dunn are the three things, in my opinion, about this movie that make it good. But the Beast, and then Sarah Paulson's character also kind of pisses me off, because it's just kind of like the whole movie, I see what she's trying to do. She's a part of that organization that knows about superheroes and villains and all that shit, and they're trying to prevent mass hysteria and all that shit. So, and that's why they were lying to Bruce Willis and all those guys on the Beast and Mr. Glass the whole movie, because they're trying to brainwash them into thinking that they're crazy and shit. I see what they're doing. It just doesn't work for me. Like, honestly, they could have shaven all that shit off the movie and made the movie like 30 minutes shorter, and just had, honestly, I wish David Dunn wouldn't have even have gotten locked up in this movie. That's one of the other things that pisses me off about this movie. Is, like, I understand, there's the whole thing of, people want realism, but there's so many plot holes in this movie anyway that it doesn't matter. You could have just had David Dunn coming back to save the day, and I wouldn't have gave a fuck, because there was so many plot holes that I would have just, there's so many plot holes in this movie, okay? But yeah, Sarah Paulson's character just pisses me off, like I said, because like I said, that whole side of the story just contradicts as it is, so it doesn't even work for me. She does kill the two guys at the end, because they want to prevent the public from finding out, but that's the best part, is Samuel L. Jackson, like, you know, did it anyway. But it also pisses me off, like, because her side, like, I like what Samuel L. Jackson did, that was fucking great, but, like, her character just pisses me off, and that whole side of, there's this other organization that, like, tries to prevent mass hysteria, and it just pisses me off. I just don't fuck with that. It's just something about it just irks my soul. Like I said, they could have shaved off like 30 minutes of this movie, and instead of having her trying to prevent them from, her trying to brainwash them and prevent the world from finding out about superheroes, they could have had more stuff about Mr. Glass slitting people's throats with fucking glass. I remember it, like, it was like a jaw-dropping moment, because, like, I honestly didn't even, like, think of the glass. Like, I didn't even know that the glass was in there. So, now, like I said, I'm kind of mixed on the James McAvoy character, because him and Samuel L. Jackson do have good chemistry together whenever they're on screen, and there are some moments where it's pretty fucking dope. And there's one twist in this movie where you find out that all the stuff that happened in the first movie is what created the Beast. The train wreck that happened in the first movie killed the parents of the Beast, and then that made him go all psychopath and shit. And then you found out that Samuel L. Jackson is the one who bombed the train or whatever. And then you're like, oh shit, well, wait. Samuel L. Jackson killed his parents, and that was just like something I didn't need. I didn't care. It didn't work for me. Okay, the first twist didn't work for me, but the second twist, where Samuel L. Jackson streamed everything to the internet, perfect twist. They saved their asses right there. I feel like that was like a studio, maybe, let's hope to God it was a studio decision to kill all of them, or have that organization or some shit, and then they just saved their asses at the end. Let's hope that's what it is. I don't think that's what it is. I think they just fucked it up. They just dropped the ball on that. Even with the ending in this movie, I still enjoy it, because there's lots of things, like I said, with the Samuel L. Jackson twist at the very end, where you find out he actually did what he wanted to do. Even though he died, he still succeeded at what he wanted to do, so I like that. And then, like, yeah, the Mr. Glass using the Beast is cool. Like, yeah, he just uses the Beast throughout the movie, and then at the end of the movie, the Beast figures out, like I said, that Mr. Glass killed his parents, and then that's whenever he hit him in the chest, and he killed him. So yeah, it's just good payoff. Even though that first twist didn't work good, I kind of like how the Beast killed him. Even though I didn't want him to die, but if he was gonna die, that was like a good way to do it in the circumstances. I don't know. Everything could have been executed better, but it was executed okay. And one of the main things that makes me say that is because there was some good payoff moments in this movie with characters, with things that have happened in the first movie that come back. Not with like the main three characters, because they tried to tie in um, James McAvoy's character in with the first movie, and it didn't work like as well for me. But with Bruce Willis's son and Anya Taylor Joy and all that stuff, all that stuff works for me. All the payoff moments that you get at the end with Samuel L. Jackson's mom and all that shit, that all works for me. It all works. It's just the Sarah Paulson shit that I just don't like, and then cause like I said, I don't mind whenever um, movies just do bullshit, but then whenever they try to take themselves serious, I'm like, bro, you were just you know how many plot holes you have in this fucking movie, and now you're trying to take your. You have Samuel L. Jackson just wandering around in the fucking hall every 5 seconds, and they're just, oh yeah, whatever, man, just put him back in his room again. You just let him do it again. They just keep letting him do it a million fucking times, and they're like, yeah, we have it set up where you can't do shit, and he just goes out and does it, and you're like, wait, I thought he couldn't do anything. I thought there was cameras everywhere. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, it just pisses me off thinking about it. But even with all of that, like I said, and they still were trying to come back around and say, oh no, well, Bruce Willis has to be locked up here because, I don't care, bro. It's like if whenever you try to lock up Batman, Batman's the good guy. Don't fucking lock up the good guy. I don't care. And then you have all these other plot holes. It doesn't even matter at this point. Like, you've been doing bullshit the whole movie. Who fucking cares? Just don't make Bruce Willis. Don't lock him up. Bring him back at the end of the movie and like just let him kick their ass. Like, that would have been way better. Other than hassling Bruce Willis the whole movie for no reason, having me yell at my TV like "fuck you, lady." Anyway, I like this movie. It just pisses me off. Like, there's so much about this movie that I like, and then so much about this movie that just gets under my skin. And then coming in at number one, you got Unbreakable. And I just I love the little things about this movie. Like, this movie has the best writing, and this is where all the payoffs that happened in Glass, the only reason why those payoffs are even okay is because of the way that they wrote it in this movie and the way that they set it up in this movie. But yeah, and then I just love like the little interactions between Bruce Willis and his son in this movie. Like whenever he goes to the park and he's like, "Yeah, I told you guys, my dad's a fucking football star or whatever. He used to be a beast." And then Bruce Willis just looks at him. He's like, "Bro, why the fuck did you tell him that?" And then you got the moment at the end where Bruce Willis just slides his son the newspaper, and he looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, son, I did it." Whenever he saved the two kids, whenever their parents got killed by the guy that broke out, whenever he touched them and he noticed that he was a bad guy. Which leads me into one of the things I really like about this movie, how whenever Bruce Willis just touches you, he can see what you do. And I just really enjoy that, how they put that in there, and which leads to one of the best plot twists in M. Night Shyamalan's career, probably the best plot twist he ever did, besides like The Sixth Sense or something. Whenever he touches Samuel L. Jackson's hand, and he literally sees all the people that he's killed and all the shit that he's done, and he realizes that he's been talking to the villain, because this is a superhero movie, and he realizes he's been talking to the villain. And like I said, this is a superhero movie, and there's lots of meta stuff throughout this whole movie, and lots of it pays lots of respect to homage. You see lots of Spider-Man comics, lots of DC comics and stuff whenever they go into the comic book stores. And if you read comic books, a lot of those stuff will catch your eye, and you'll probably know what issue it is. But yeah, like I said, it's meta, and there's lots of stuff in this movie that happens like in Glass, where Glass goes a little too over the top with meta. This movie does it perfectly. This is like, it just feels like I said, like a comic book coming to the screen. And yeah, you got Samuel L. Jackson's character as Mr. Glass. He has like this bone deficiency or whatever, and his bones break easily. But he just is really smart. He's been reading comics his whole life. He's like an expert on comics and stuff. And he knows like everything about David Dunn, Bruce Willis's character, because he's been like keeping up with him over the years. And the water weakness is utilized the best in this movie. Whenever he gets knocked off the balcony into the pool and he starts drowning, that's the best they ever utilized it. Because in the third movie, there's the one time whenever he got, somehow he got thrown up into that fucking tank or whatever. I don't even know how the hell. I forgot how he got in there, but I'm like, what the hell? How? Wow. Like, you're supposed to be the strong guy. How the fuck did you even get in there? That was another plot hole. How the fuck did he get in there? Anyway, and then there's the whole drowning him in the puddle. It's like, oh my god. Is that what we're doing now? Yeah. Like, it just works way better in this movie. He gets caught off guard and he gets thrown into a pool. Like, yeah, that's some shit that would happen. That's a lot better writing. And yeah, like I said, just everything in this movie just works for me. Everything pays off in the end. And then there's the whole interaction with his wife and him. And his wife the whole time. At the beginning of this movie, he takes off his ring whenever he's on the train before the wreck. And because there's this girl that sits next to him and he's trying to talk to her, and then she ends up getting up and goes away. And then you find out that him and his wife have been having issues in their marriage and stuff like that. And then you find out that Bruce Willis had gotten a huge car crash with her whenever they were younger or whatever. And it was said that he got injured or some shit and he couldn't play football anymore. But he actually lied to her, and he just stopped playing football because she didn't want to date a football player or marry a football player or some shit like that. So he just did it for her. And yeah, that's why he worked as a security guard at the football stadium for like 20 years or some shit like that. But yeah, even the security guard thing where they made David Dunn a security guard, just good writing, because obviously he wants to protect somebody. Like, just all the shit that they did in this movie, that M. Night Shyamalan was doing. This was probably my favorite movie that he ever did. He just executed everything perfectly in this movie. It's a great movie. Great performances from Bruce Willis, which is one of my favorite actors. I think this is probably his best performance besides John McClane. And then you got Samuel L. Jackson. This is also one of his best performances besides Coach Carter and Nick Fury. I mean, overall, you got a really solid trilogy, which, like I said, the bottom two movies, they go up and down. There's a lot of things that I like more about Glass, and then there's a lot of things I like more about Split. Like I said, Split is more of like a psychological, like, horror movie. It's not even really like a horror movie, but it's more of like a psychological thriller thing. And then Glass is more of like a psychological action movie, almost. It's like a psychological superhero action movie. But yeah, I just put Glass above Split because the moments that happen in Glass are really high. And Split just doesn't really go for it because it's not trying to, which I see the reason why it's not trying to, because it's trying to tell the story that it's going for. And it's a lot more of a, not grounded, I'm not trying to say grounded, it's a lot more of like a simple story about him just kidnapping kids. These other two stories are like a lot more crazy. Split is definitely a better quality film and a more competently made movie. I just enjoy the high moments in Glass more than the high moments in Split. But yeah, thanks for coming around and watching my videos. Y'all can go check out my music at KaiOG. And yeah, you already know the deal. G safe.